is the Bad News Network. President Obama, in a speech this morning, asked the question, what happened to the Republican Party? He cited that for many years, the central tenet of the Republican foreign policy has been the fight against communism, whereas now they seem to be cozying up to autocrats and Putin while simultaneously fighting against legislation that would make our elections safer. He closed asking the question, what has changed? And it's a valid question. My guess? Prostitutes and P-tapes. But in all seriousness, I'm happy that President Obama asked this question. It's not like he would have made any concessions to Russia, like letting Putin know that he'll have greater flexibility after the election, or crapping on Mitt Romney's 80s foreign policy when he cited that Russia was probably the most significant threat to America, or maybe backing off of that line in the sand that ended up resulting in massive Syrian genocide. So it's good that he never did any of those things. DC and the internet is shocked and appalled about a new op-ed in the New York Times, allegedly from a top Trump official. In this op-ed, the official makes the case that President Trump actually prefers autocrats like Putin and Kim Jong-un, isn't more down by the trappings of morality that most people have to deal with, tends to be impulsive and emotional when reacting to political opponents, and is so dangerous that many of his top officials have to work around his idiosyncrasies to try to minimize the damage to the country. I can see why they're shocked. I mean, that kind of insight is impossible to come by. I mean, sure, there are a few clues for the discerning Sherlocks amongst us. Incessant platitudes about Putin and Un, a couple of payoffs through third parties to Playboy models and porn stars, mocking the disabled, 2 a.m. rage tweeting, attacking a Gold Star father. But you know, other than that, I mean, is there anything else that we've seen that points to any of this op-ed being true? In NFL news, the season opener pitting the Philadelphia Eagles against the Atlanta Falcons was the worst opener since 2009. It had 10% fewer viewers than last year, which had 7% fewer viewers than the year before. And frankly, I can't think of a single reason for this. I mean, what's changed? I have no idea. In entertainment news, all-around nice guy Vincent Vargas, aka Rocco, kicked off the pilot for the Mayans. Vincent plays Gilly, the gang's leg breaker. When asked why Vargas was chosen for the role, Kurt Sutter responded, because he's big as fuck, and if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, he knows what to do. And I'd pay to see that news. Alex Jones messed with Marco Rubio at a press conference this week. When Marco Rubio pretended not to know who Jones was and turned away from him, Jones quickly tapped him on the back to get his attention, to which Rubio responded, "Don't touch me, man." Alex Jones quickly said, "What are you gonna do, arrest me?" Rubio came down, big pimpin' style, and said, "No, I'll handle it myself." At this point, I got super fired up because I thought they were going to throw down and somebody was going to punch Alex Jones in the face. But then that didn't happen because they're politicians. But, you know, like, I would pay to see that. And frankly, my money's on Rubio. Originally, I would have said Alex Jones based on girth, but like, Rubio had some swagger, and that goes a long way. And I also think because of height that he has some reach. So I'm going Rubio in that fight if it ever happens. In Supreme Court news, Democrats are applauding Senator Kamala Harris's badgering of nominee Kavanaugh. Harris asked Kavanaugh repeatedly about which member of Trump's law firm that he spoke to about the Mueller investigation. Kavanaugh responded that he couldn't remember if he had spoken to anybody from that firm and asked her if she had any names. She refused to give them. He refused to answer the question without a name being presented, as he couldn't be sure who worked there. They did this for 20 minutes. Apparently, it was a big deal. In more exciting Kavanaugh news, Senator Cory Booker threatened to release documents that he stated Republicans do not want you to see about Kavanaugh. He made the claim that he was going to release them even if it meant expulsion from the Senate, which frankly is a ballsy move, whether you like the guy or not. Personally, I was impressed when he did it, except for the fact that it wasn't a ballsy move, because the dude actually got them cleared the night before, and the whole thing was just political theater. On the other hand, totally believable, and when this whole Senate thing is done, like, I'm thinking that Senator Booker should probably go to Hollywood, maybe do like B-flicks. He could be like an action star, you know, he can be like, bring it, and then like big emotional response and he can fight someone. I don't know, it's just an idea. And now we cut to field correspondent Matt Finney, who is currently standing right outside Firefly-class Starship Serenity. Matt borrowed my Firefly DVDs this week, and he wants to tell you all about it.
Thanks, Nick. Field correspondent Matt Finney standing here in front of the Firefly. I've just gotten past disc 1. So far, so good. Characters are pretty funny. The girls are hot. There's a prostitute that follows them around. Not really sure what her role is. And there's a bunch of people-eating crazy people on the edge of space. So, looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in the future. My guess is eating people. So far, I like it. Looking forward to Season 2. Back to you, Nick.
Season 2. Thanks, Matt. I need a minute. Legendary actor Burt Reynolds died this week. He was known for such classic films as Smokey and the Bandit, Cannonball Run, The Longest Yard, and Boogie Nights. There's a lot to say about Mr. Reynolds, but I believe that Ryan Reynolds actually said it best. He did it first, he did it best, he did it naked. Rest in peace. And finally, I want to chat with you about what happened to Jeffrey Owens. For those of you that don't know, Owens used to work on The Cosby Show. And now, in addition to acting part-time as he gets roles, he also acts as a pastor at his local church, is an awesome dad and role model, and works at Trader Joe's. Someone took a picture of him working there, and it became a story on Fox News in the vein of how the mighty have fallen. There is both awful and awesome in this story. The awful starts with the idea that somebody working and providing for their family in any capacity is a bad thing. Maybe some of the issue that we have in society right now is that people think that they are too good for some work. The only person that should be embarrassed is the person that isn't working, the person that isn't providing for themselves, the person that is not contributing meaningfully to society. Acting is not an easy gig, but you know what? There are no easy gigs. People have highs and lows. I've certainly been down. There was a period of time when I started Ranger Up where I had no money. I was renting 2 rooms from a buddy of mine, and I slept in one, and my 1-year-old and 3-year-old shared the other room. I wasn't just working at Ranger Up. I was doing odd jobs and various kind of contracts or whatever to make ends meet. My grandfather, who emigrated here from Italy, had to work 3 jobs to take care of his family. When one of his neighbors came over to ask what he should do because he didn't have enough money, he told him to get another job. Like, that is the generation that built this country. That is the generation we call the greatest generation. And pretty much every person that I know that has succeeded wildly has had a low point where they have had to, you can call it swallow your pride, but there's nothing to swallow because there is something good about working hard at whatever job you have. There is elegance in that, and there is some beauty in that. That's what we're here to do. We're not here to just have fun. Like, we're here to contribute to society. So for people out there that want to judge this man for working, like, you're just garbage. Like, literally f*** yourself. But the beauty of this, though, is that most of us have had that moment. Most of us have been down. We've had that moment where we were afraid. How are we going to make it all work? How are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to live up to the expectations of our family? And because of that, there was incredible empathy about this. This is one of the few things in recent history that I remember that there weren't really 2 sides of. There was like the handful garbage human beings that thought it was funny in like that TMZ style, but like everybody else, whether they were Republicans, Democrats, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, was basically like, F this story, because we all know what it's like. If you notice how good people can be when you show empathy, maybe we should consider showing empathy about different perspectives on many things, because when you show empathy, when you try to put yourself in someone else's place, then it's a lot easier to see them as human and to have reasonable conversations and to be good instead of constantly being critical pieces of garbage. And with that, I'm Nick Palmisciano, and this is the Bad News Network. Our news is at least as bad as the news you're getting already. It's been a long f***ing week, so I'm drinking.